To feel the thunder of orcish war drums outside the gate, and to hear a chorus of voices growling, Gruumsh, is the nightmare of many human, dwarf, and elven settlements in the world. For no matter how thick its walls, skilled its archers, or brave its knights, few settlements have ever withstood a full-scale onslaught of orcs. Every soldier who lives through a fight with orcs tells of confronting a hulking foe that can cleave through a warrior with a single blow. Part of a force that can cut down enemies as though they were trembling stalks of wheat before the scythe. Only a skilled and determined hero can hope to survive single combat with an orc. Savage and fearless, orc tribes are ever in search of elves, dwarves, and humans to destroy. Motivated by their hatred of the so-called civilized races of the world and their need to satisfy the demands of their deities. The orcs know that if they fight well and bring glory to their tribe, Gruumsh will call them home to the plain of Acheron. It is there in the afterlife where the chosen ones will join Gruumsh and his armies in their endless extraplanar battle for supremacy. Though not all orcs swear themselves to the evil gods and their purposes, but the tribes that do have carved out the reputation of the orc people for millennia. Hate beats in their hearts, and rage runs through their veins. What thoughts emerge from the darkness of their minds are bent on ruination and death. They are orcs, and in their wakes, ash and bone remain. I am William Stark.
I am Omar Timsaw.
And this is D&D Legends and Lore.
If you are one of the millions of people who want to play Dungeons & Dragons or other tabletop RPGs, but don't know where to start, then you want to try Start Playing. Start Playing is the largest game-finding service online. When finding the right game online is too confusing and time-consuming, digging through forums, discords, or local game stores isn't practical, or when scheduling is a headache because game times rarely match up with busy adult lives, Start Playing helps players find games run by professional and consistent game masters. With thousands of games, you can instantly find a session or campaign of D&D, Pathfinder, or any other TTRPG. Search games that match your schedule and needs. With Start Playing, you can filter by game system, virtual tabletop, theme, style, day, time, budget, and more. Never played before and looking to learn? Don't feel intimidated. The GMs at Start Playing are excited to welcome newbies to the game. You can even filter by experience level. And Start Playing is both diverse and safe. Find a femme, black, queer, neurodivergent, or otherwise inclusive GM, and feel safe, represented, and welcome. No group? No problem. Join solo and meet thousands of other players looking for new friends and adventures every month. Find a game today and start playing tonight. Start Playing is trusted by over 100,000 players and is a community built on trust and positive reviews. Check out the link in the description and pinned comment to get started with Start Playing today. Huge thanks to Start Playing for sponsoring this episode. And with that, let us begin.
Orcs are most often depicted as burly raiders with prominent lower canines that resemble tusks, but the truth is that they differ greatly in appearance depending on tribe or species. Common traits across various orcs are stooped builds, grayish or greenish skin, coarse black hair, and low foreheads, reddish eyes, and faces of porcine appearance that feature large lower canines similar to a boar's tusks. They also have wolf-like ears that are pointed on the ends. Most orcs are roughly the same size as humans and similar humanoids, though usually larger. At 4 years old, an orc is considered a juvenile, and by age 12, it is a fully functioning adult. Most orcs don't live past the age of 25 due to battle or illness, but an orc can live to about 40, remaining healthy almost up until the end. Orc tribes scourge the land, devouring and driving off beasts and plundering villages. As each region is consumed, they move on. A tribe divides into roving bands that search abroad for the choicest new hunting grounds, leaving a small contingency behind to receive returning parties. As the orcs filter in, they bring trophies and news of targets ripe for attack. Once the tribe is whole, they set out, desecrating the land and its creatures as they cut a path to their new territory. On rare occasion, a tribe's leader chooses to hold on to a particular defensible layer for decades, and its orcs must range far into the countryside to sate their appetites. It is extremely difficult to negotiate with orcs unless perched in a position of overwhelming strength. Orcs see weakness outside their tribe as an exploitable source of food and treasure. Even weaker orc tribes are prey for stronger ones. Powerful creatures can direct an orc tribe's ferocity through intimidation, but none can hope for fine control or discipline. Orcs appreciate physical prowess and formidable combat ability in any form. As such, they might accept other creatures into their ranks from time to time. Orcs have been known to associate with wereboars and ettins, both creatures that can markedly improve a tribe's murderous efficiency. For a promise of sufficient food and loot, a troll might accompany a tribe temporarily. A group of orcs can be dominated by evil creatures of immense power, and they accept this subservient role either because they are forced to, or because it offers them a measure of security. Green dragons, for instance, sometimes use orcs as sentinels or shock troops. Orcs are sometimes attracted to the service of frost giants or fire giants, who then reward their loyalty by turning them into slaves. If a tribe is defeated or driven from its lair, the survivors might come under the sway of a strong but dim-witted creature such as a hill giant or an ogre. It is also not unheard of for an exceptionally strong and charismatic evil human to lead stray orcs that no longer have a tribe to call their own. Everything about orcs centers in one way or another around their chief deity, Gruumsh One-Eye, and his pantheon of follower deities. It is from Gruumsh they were born, and through his will they continue to wreak havoc across worlds. Orcs worship Gruumsh, the mightiest of their orc deities and their creator. The orcs believe that in the ancient days, the gods gathered to divide the world among their followers. When Gruumsh claimed the mountains, he learned that they had been taken by the dwarves. He laid claim to the forests, but those had been settled by the elves. Each place that Gruumsh wanted had already been claimed. The other gods laughed at Gruumsh, but he responded with a furious bellow. Grasping his mighty spear, he laid waste to the mountains, set the forests aflame, and carved great furrows into the fields. Such was the role of the orcs, he proclaimed, to take and destroy all the other races would deny them. To this day, the orcs wage an endless war on humans, elves, dwarves, and other folk. Orcs believe their gods to be invincible. They see the principles that define them and their deities at work every day in the world around them. Nature rewards the strong and mercilessly eliminates the weak and the infirm. Orcs do not revere their gods as much as they fear them. Every tribe has superstitions about how to avert their wrath and bring their favor. This deep-seated uncertainty and fear comes forth in the form of savagery and relentlessness, as orcs ravage and kill to appease their gods in order to avoid their terrible retribution. At the pinnacle of the orc pantheon is Gruumsh One-Eye, who created the orcs and continues to direct their destiny. He is aided and abetted by other warrior deities, Bagtru and Elneval, who bring strength and cunning to the battlefield. The followers of all three gods are our tribe's raiders and ravagers, often the only part of an orc tribe that its victims ever see. Deep within the den of a tribe, far away from the war hearth where the warriors gather and celebrate, dwell the followers of Yurtrus, the god of disease and death, and Shargas, the god of darkness and the unknown. Orcs too weak for battle, because of bodily weakness, malformation, injury, or age, often join these cults instead of facing daily humiliation, exile, or death. Serving as the bridge between the two parts of the tribe are the priestesses of Luthik, the orc goddess who represents both life and the grave. It is her worshippers that raise young orcs to be warriors, and then, at the end of their lives, take them to Yurtrus and Shargas to be carried into death and the great unknown. Orcs believe that if they die with honor, their spirits go to the plane of Acheron, the infinite battlefield, specifically to the lair of Nishrek, where they join Gruumsh's army and fight on his behalf in the endless war against the goblinoid followers of Maglebiet. Gruumsh sees this conflict as a chance to pit his people against an eager foe and enable them to prove their worth before their deities. He relishes every short-term triumph and swears revenge for every setback. Luthik, though, takes a longer view. She understands the cosmic implications of Maglebiet's attacks. To prevent the goblinoids from outstripping her people and population, she urges the orcs to have many offspring and teach them the ways of battle, not only for survival in the material world, but to keep Maglebiet at bay in the conflict on the plains. Her children will remain in her care, and if need be, she wouldn't hesitate to take to the field herself and claw Maglebiet's beady eyes from his face to prevent him from taking them from her. The cosmic battle between the two pantheons has raged for eons without resolution, leading those who study its ebb and flow to expect the stalemate to continue. A different view is put forth by the Archmage Zunk, who notes that Maglebiet has never faced a foe as ferocious and protective as Luthik. He predicts that the war will end with Luthik the only deity standing as the Cave Mother ascends to rule her warrior children. Gruumsh, the undisputed ruler of the Orc pantheon, pushes his children to increase their numbers so they may be his instrument of revenge against the realms of elves, humans, and dwarves. In order to spite the gods who spurned him, Gruumsh leads his orcs on a mission of ceaseless slaughter, fueled by an unending rage that seeks to lay waste to the civilized world and revel in its anguish. Orcs are naturally chaotic and unorganized, acting on their emotions and instincts rather than out of reason or logic. Only certain charismatic orcs, those who have been directly touched by the will and might of Gruumsh, have the capacity to control other orcs in a tribe. Orcs don't become renowned in their tribes by choosing Gruumsh. He chooses them. An orc might claim its allegiance to Gruumsh, but only those who have proven themselves through feats of strength and ferocity in war are considered worthy of being true worshippers. Gruumsh singles out these individuals by bestowing upon each one a powerful dream or vision that signifies acceptance into his inner circle. Those who are visited by Gruumsh are transformed psychologically and often physically by the experience. Some are driven to the brink of madness, reduced to muttering about omens and prophecies, while others become imbued with supernatural power and rise to positions of leadership. A few of the orcs touched by the power of Gruumsh are given the ultimate honor of carrying a small part of the god's overwhelming rage into battle, in the form of magic that augments their weapon and helps the tribe succeed. To become an Eye of Gruumsh, an orc that has been chosen by Gruumsh must gouge out one of its eyes in a sign of devotion, sacrificing half of its mortal vision in return for divine power. These god-touched orcs are revered as living connections to Gruumsh, and are treated with respect even when they are old and infirm. Ilneval is the loyal right hand of Gruumsh. He is the god who plans the attacks and devises the strategies that allow the forces of Gruumsh to dominate the battle and fill their war wagons with plunder and severed heads. Ilneval stands with his bloody sword, calling to those who understand the ebb and flow of combat to sit around his council fire and learn the ways of war. Orcs that show an aptitude for the nuances of warfare at an early age are considered chosen by Ilneval and are groomed to serve as blades of Ilneval. These individuals are battle captains that follow the orders of the tribe's chief, leading a portion of the tribe's warriors into the thick of battle and bringing a measure of strategy to the assault. Blades of Ilneval are fearsome opponents, seeming to have an uncanny sense of when to move and when to strike, able to exploit the weakness of their enemy like a pack of hungry wolves. Despite the influence of Ilneval, orcs are brutal and feral in how they wage war. Bagtru is the deity who epitomizes the physical might and ruthlessness that orcs use to overwhelm their foes. He is the one who drives every thrust of an orc's weapon so that it does as much harm as possible. In the myths, it is said that Bagtru was out hunting when he was surprised by the mightiest of Behirs, one with hundreds of legs. In a flash, Bagtru was wrapped in the creature's coils and gripped by its legs. No one had ever escaped the grasp of the Behir, but Bagtru saw this as the ultimate test of his strength and laughed at his good fortune. One by one, Bagtru broke the Behir's legs and freed himself from its clutches. The creature's shrieks became the lightning of the storm, and its broken femur became the symbol of Bagtru's followers, reminding them that anything can be broken and defeated by superior strength. Most young orcs are followers of Bagtru. They continually try to prove their superior strength and endurance through cruel contests against their tribe mates, acts of unprovoked belligerence, and great success in battle. It is through these tests of strength that Bagtru's followers prove which among them will eventually be worthy of Gruumsh's unwavering gaze. Orcs of Bagtru sometimes enter battle astride aurochs, large creatures that resemble oxen or cattle, but are much more ferocious. By doing so, they honor the creatures as well as their deity, because legends tell that Bagtru also rode a great bull into battle. No orc will eat or harm one of these sacred beasts, which are believed to be imbued with Bagtru's spirit. While Gruumsh is the external force that pushes the orcs to victory over their enemies, it is the influence of Luthic, his wife, that binds them together and makes the orcs internally cohesive. She is the force that keeps the explosive rage of Gruumsh from bursting the orcs apart. If it was not for the followers of Luthic, it is possible that the race of orcs would be no more than small bands of warrior nomads, scratching out a meager existence, rather than a force capable of great destruction. Far from the den's war hearth, within the protective depths of the caves, the followers of Luthic tend to the orc brood, raising them to be strong and cruel like their progenitors. By invoking the power of superstitions, omens, and traditions, these claws of Luthic hold the tribe together through ritual, fear, and if necessary, force. Luthic is often thought to take the guise of an enormous cave bear. Her followers honor this aspect of her by keeping cave bears as pets to guard the whelping pens that are filled with squabbling young. Luthic's devoted also grow their claws long and paint them black to mimic the fearsome talons of their goddess. Luthic rewards them by making their claws as strong and tough as iron. Along with protecting the young and the tribe's food stores, the worshippers of Luthic also serve as the crafters, engineers, and builders of an orc tribe. They fashion crude weapons, armor, and the few manufactured items that the orcs need for daily life. When the tribe is away on raids, they are expected to dig deeper into the caverns of the den to create more living space for the ever-increasing population. The god Urtrus is often depicted as consumed by rot and covered in oozing pustules, utterly repulsive except for his hands, which are pure white and free from any blemish. Urtrus has no mouth and never utters a sound, so that he may come in absolute silence for his chosen. The followers of Urtrus are allowed to dwell on the fringes of the tribe, but they are looked upon with distaste and unease. They interact with the tribe mostly on occasions of death, claiming the bones of the fallen warriors to add to the ossuary shrines of Urtrus, and sometimes during shamanic rites when contact with spirits occurs. Shaman who heed the telepathic whispers of Urtrus walk the perilous line between the living and the dead, and gain uncanny powers from doing so. Through this nonverbal communion, they begin to comprehend how to use the magic of death. These shaman, known as White Hands, cover their hands in white ash or wear pale gloves made from elf skin to symbolize their connection to the power of Urtrus. The necromancy practiced by the shaman of Urtrus is a force considered taboo by orcs, which makes them both revered and feared by the rest of the tribe. Orc tribes are patriarchal, flaunting such vivid and grotesque titles as Many Arrows, Screaming Eye, and Elf Ripper. Occasionally, a powerful war chief unites scattered orc tribes into a single rampaging horde, which runs roughshod over the orc tribes and humanoid settlements from a position of overwhelming strength. The war chief of an orc tribe is the strongest and most cunning member. The reign of a war chief lasts only as long as it commands the fear and respect of the other tribe members, whose bloodlust must be regularly satisfied, lest the chief appear weak. Gruumsh bestows special blessings upon war chiefs that prove themselves in battle time and again, imbuing them with slivers of his savagery. A war chief so blessed finds that their weapons cut deeper into their enemies, allowing them to inflict more carnage. When an orc slays an elf in Gruumsh's name and offers the corpse of its foe as a sacrifice to the gods of slaughter, an aspect of the god might appear. This aspect demands an additional sacrifice, one of the orc's eyes, symbolizing the loss Gruumsh suffered at the hands of his greatest enemy, Corellon Lorethian. If the orc plucks out one of its eyes, Gruumsh might grant the orc spellcasting ability and special favor, along with the right to call itself an Eye of Gruumsh. When not using their auguries to advise their war chiefs, these devotees of the god of slaughter hurl themselves into battle, their weapons stained with blood. In order to replenish the casualties of their endless warring, orcs breed prodigiously. Females that are about to give birth are relieved of their other roles and taken to the lairs' whelping pens, where they are tended by Luthic's followers. Orcs don't take mates, and no pair bonding occurs in a tribe other than at the moment the coupling takes place. At other times, males and females are more or less indifferent toward one another. All orcs consider mating to be a mundane necessity of life, and no special significance beyond that is imparted to it. Young orcs must mature quickly in order to survive their perilous upbringing. Their early years are fraught with tests of strength, fierce competition, and nothing in the way of maternal or paternal love. From the time a child can wield a stick or a crude knife, it asserts itself and defends itself while learning to fight, to survive in the wild, and to fear the gods. The children that can't endure the rigors of a life of combat are culled from the main body of the tribe, taken into the depths of the lair, and left for the followers of Yurtrus and Shargas to accept or reject. A fully grown orc warrior is well prepared for a lifetime of combat. When a tribe is on the move, orc warriors are commanded to scour the surrounding landscape for any opportunity to spill blood and bring glory to their gods. Often, bands of warriors work on a rotation, with one group heading out on a raid just as another group returns, laden with severed heads, sacks of loot, and armfuls of food. Warriors also serve as scouts, bringing back detailed reports about the surrounding area so that the chief can plan where to send raiders next. The territory that orc war parties cover can extend for miles around the lair, and any encampment or settlement of elves, dwarves, or humans in that area is at risk. If orcs can come upon a target that is too large to assault directly, they will lurk along supply routes, taking out their frustrations on caravans and travelers. Left unchecked, a tribe can subsist on this sort of prey and booty for quite some time. Orcs pillage and scavenge wherever they go. Everything is loot, and loot is always something to be proud of. In order to haul as much food and booty as possible back to their tribe's den, every tribe has a sturdy war wagon. Since orcs are poor crafters, most of their wagons are stolen from human or dwarven strongholds and then decorated with uniquely orcish accessories. A war wagon is a source of great pride for a war chief, comparable to a human army's banner or flag. Many are clad in armor and festooned with garish trinkets and grisly trophies that hang from hooks and spikes. A war wagon makes a good shield against arrows when orcs besiege an elven fortress, and a heavily modified wagon can serve as a battering ram if a settlement dares to close its gates, blocking the way to treasures and tasty food that lie within. A heavily laden wagon that requires the strongest orcs to return it to the lair is a sign of great success. One that can be moved by the runts of the tribe is proof of a shameful performance. The loss of a tribe's war wagon can undermine the chieftain's authority and cause the tribe to collapse into chaos, with the survivors scattering either to join new tribes or to strike out on their own. At the other extreme, warriors that return home with a heavily laden wagon, or after heroically defending it from thieves, gain great respect and advance higher in the tribe's pecking order. Orcs live in constant fear of their gods, and their behavior is rooted in that mentality. They believe that they can see the influence of the gods everywhere in the world around them, and the priests of a tribe are entrusted with the responsibility of identifying these signs and omens, both good and bad, and deciding how the tribe should react. Orcs believe that any seemingly unimportant discovery or event, a bear's claw marks on a tree, a flock of crows, or a sudden gust of wind, might be a communication from the gods. If the tribe has encountered a similar omen before, the priests understand how to interpret it. But if a sign from the gods has no clear explanation, the priests might have to meditate for hours or days to get a vision of its meaning. Every group of orcs has particular superstitions and recognizes certain omens. These tenets vary from tribe to tribe and are often based in events that the tribe has experienced. Orcs have a written language adapted from that of the dwarves, but they aren't a literate culture and rarely keep records or write down their thoughts. When orcs need to communicate in writing, they use crude symbols to convey basic information such as food stored here, danger close, or go this way. An orc raiding party might leave such a sign in its wake as an aid to other warriors that travel through the same area later on. Mountain guides, druids, and rangers might be familiar with many of these symbols, enabling them to keep their charges from inadvertently stumbling into a tribe's territory. 3 colors have special meaning to all orcs, and they adorn their bodies, possessions, and lairs with pigments that produce these hues. Red ochre is used to represent blood, grayish-white ash to represent death, and charcoal to represent darkness. The unwritten laws that govern the status of individual orcs within a tribe are manifested to a degree in how each orc uses these colors on itself and its personal items. For instance, the chief of one tribe might be the only one that has the right to stain its tusks with red ochre, while the warriors of another tribe rub streaks of ash into their garments to signify their safe return from a raid. An orc tribe typically has no more than a few hundred members, because a larger group would need a prohibitive amount of resources to remain strong. As a rule, a tribe is violently hostile toward any other tribe it meets, seeing the rival orcs first and foremost as competitors for food and victims. On some occasions, though, tribes that have a common concern band together. The result is an orc horde, a sea of slavering killers that washes over the countryside and leaves vast tracts of devastation in its wake. Such an event is rare in the extreme, but its consequences can lay low entire nations that are unable to stand against the wave. Strength and power are the greatest of orcish virtues, and orcs embrace all manner of mighty creatures in their tribes. They proudly welcome ogres, trolls, half-orcs, and orogs into their ranks. As well, orcs respect and fear the size and power of evil giants, and often serve them as guards and soldiers. When orcs attack a settlement of humans or halflings, they will kill anyone who presents a threat, but they are more interested in grabbing plunder or food rather than in wanton slaughter. The elderly, children, and any who seem weak or meek enough might escape death. If they leave the population more or less intact, the orcs leave themselves the option of returning to raid the community over and over. When orcs fight elves, all of that changes. The enmity between the two races cuts to the core, and no orc will leave an elf alive. Orcs become so frenzied in combat against elves that they forget all about taking loot and valuables back to the tribe. The only trophies of any worth are the heads of their enemies. Orcs treat dwarves somewhat differently from other foes. Because they covet the homes that dwarves fashion for themselves, if a tribe succeeds in fighting its way into a dwarf hold, the orcs will butcher any dwarf that stands against them, but it's really all about the property. They would be just as happy if all the dwarves ran away. An orc tribe needs a home base of sorts, a place where warriors can reconnoiter after a raid, and ideally also a site that can be easily defended to ensure the safety of a tribe's non-combatants. Orcs establish their encampments mainly in mountainous areas, around and within deep caves or large crevasses in the rock. Although they prefer such terrain for strategic purposes, they can adapt and thrive in almost any environment. Every encampment is divided along lines of worship. Those who revere Gruumsh, Ilneval, Bagtru, and Luthic are given the best parts of the lair, while the followers of Urtrus and Shargos are relegated to the deep dark recesses of the site, away from the rest of the tribe. At the center of the camp is the tribe's war hearth. Once a war hearth is lit, the priests of Gruumsh keep it continually burning, for it represents the rage within Gruumsh's unblinking eye. The orcs converge on the hearth to celebrate victory and feast after a kill. If a tribe moves its camp, coals from the hearth are kept glowing within shells and pots so they can be used to start the war hearth at a new encampment. Given a choice between occupying a site on the surface and one that is wholly or partly underground, an orc chieftain typically opts for the latter. If the surface location happens to be a ruin left behind by another race, orcs are more likely to use it as a temporary campsite. The ruins of an elven settlement are the exception to this rule. If orcs come across such a place, they desecrate it and leave it unfit for any sort of habitation. A tribe uses its home base for as long as the resources in the surrounding area hold out. Enough food for the foragers and hunters, and enough victims for the warriors. The orcs might have to range further and further from their lair as prey becomes more scarce, and after a few months or a year or two, the tribe will be forced to move on and find more fertile hunting grounds. On occasion, a tribe finds itself in the best of both worlds situation, able to take over occupancy of an underground space voluminous enough to accommodate all the factions in a tribe and within raiding distance of a steady supply of prey. Orcs on the move grudgingly camp in the open, but their instincts is to fortify for long residence. Ruins, cavern complexes, and defeated foe villages are easily converted into strongholds. Orcs build only for defensive purposes, such as erecting log and earth walls to encircle huts. If orcs choose to live in their victims' homes, they close the gaps they exploited in the settlement's defenses. Orcs don't set traps around their lairs unless the makings for the trap existed prior to the tribe's arrival. Instead, the brutes build spiked walls and dig pits to ensnare invaders and buy sentries time to alert the tribe. Although capable of ironworking and some subtler arts, orcs prefer the strong-arm method of procurement. After savaging a colony, they pick it and instead clean of usable items and cart the booty back to their base. The skeletal remains of the settlement are then set alight. Orcs often range through the hills and mountains that dwarves prefer. The countless battles between the two races have awarded orcs control over a handful of dwarven holds and mines. Yet even when controlling a prime location, orcs fail to do anything with it. The real pleasure has been wresting control of the site from the dwarves. One unusual industrious orc sent slaves into a mine for a season, but the weaklings had the temerity to keep dying. Orogs are orcs blessed with a surprisingly keen intellect. Orcs believe that an Orog's exceptional strength and intelligence are a gift from the goddess Luthik to ensure that her brood survives and flourishes. So when an Orog is born, a tremor goes throughout the tribe, for the event is seen as a great blessing from the goddess, but brings tension as well. An Orog within the tribe poses a potential problem for an orc war chief. Will the Orog grow up to be a powerful ally or a dangerous adversary? Most war chiefs treasure their positions so highly that they would refuse to relinquish the title, even to a clearly superior creature. Thus, a chief might be tempted to kill an Orog while it is still young and weak, but such an act would almost certainly incur the wrath of Luthik. To raise an Orog within the tribe from the chief's point of view is to take a risk that the Orog won't one day rise up and usurp the power of the chief. Because of this sentiment, Orogs are secreted away by priestesses of Luthik and raised out of sight of the chief. What most war chiefs don't realize or trust in is the fact that Orogs aren't a direct threat to their rule. By nothing more than their presence, Orogs serve as a balancing force. Indoctrinated by the priestesses of Luthik, they see to it that Luthik's followers are protected from the more aggressive members of the tribe. Most Orogs don't go on raids, because their main responsibility is the safety of the tribe members that remain in the lair, ensuring that the tribe remains intact even if a raid goes badly and many warriors are killed. In times of internal strife, such as after the death of a chief, Orogs move in to oversee the selection of a new leader and keep the tribe from splintering due to infighting. Orogs strive not to lead their tribe, but to keep the tribe together, which is often the more difficult of the two tasks. An orc lives on the edge of chaos and rage, and Orogs are no exception. At times, an Orog goes rogue and becomes a force of destruction in the tribe, seeking to fracture the group along lines of loyalty to the gods. If those who worship Luthik and those who worship Gruumsh split, the tribe can be torn apart by the schism. At the other extreme, an Orog might accept a role in battle or leadership under special circumstances. If a tribe finds itself up against formidable or unexpected resistance, the endurance and superior intellect of an Orog serving as a chief or battle master can be enough to win the day when a less capable leader would have failed. A Tanarok is an abyssal creation infused with demonic power. Half demon, half orc, it wanders the world in a murderous haze. Its dimly glowing red eyes burn under thick, horn-like brows, and its tusks and claws are razor-sharp. Because the skin of Tanaroks is unnaturally tough, they rarely wear armor, preferring to rush into battle unencumbered, smashing their foes with a demon-forged maul or tearing them apart. A Tanarok is spawned when an orc tribe turns away from its gods and makes sacrifices to the demon lord Baphomet. The lords of the abyss are always eager to claim more followers, and the violent orcs are prime candidates for corruption. A tribe pushed to the edge of destruction, its faith in the deities shattered, might beseech Baphomet to bless its next generation of warriors. In doing so, Baphomet imbues the tribes unborn with demonic might, yielding a generation of Tanaroks. The orc deities consider such a betrayal of their worship as a crime punishable by obliteration, and the orcs faithful to their gods view Tanaroks as horrid blasphemies that must be attacked on sight. On rare occasions, a non-orc that has gained control over a tribe performs a ritual to Baphomet in hopes of spawning Tanaroks to serve as a squad of shock troops. Only the strongest warlords and spellcasters can keep such a force in line, meaning that often the would-be conqueror is slain, by its own creations. This has been D&D Legends and Lore. Thank you for watching and listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And please consider leaving us an Apple Podcast review, as it helps tremendously with discoverability. If you're interested in supporting us and helping us keep the lights on here at D&D Legends and Lore, please also consider checking out our Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. And with that being said, thank you again for watching, and happy adventuring.